My name is Litia and I'm from the beautiful island of Laos and I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
My name is Casey, I'm from Tabua. We love Today FM in Tabua. Today FM rocks.
My name is Selina, I'm from Tauvenga-Vengamba. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Pula, my name is Carlo. I love listening to the music in Today FM, in Malak Island. Today FM rock.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
In the news tonight, airport security strengthens with installation of new X-ray machines. PAC slams Fiji Times over OAG reports. And 14-year-old hopes for miracle operation.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Smith.
Border security at Nandi's International Airport has been upgraded with the installation of a Rapiscan X-ray machine today. Gifted by the Israeli government, the machine will be able to scan luggage for explosives and illicit drugs. Maggie Boyle reports.
Cutting into the fight against transnational crime, the Fiji Revenue and Customs Authority's Chief Executive Beswanath Das blunt about the issues at hand.
For a number of years, Fiji has been termed as the hub of the Pacific. Unfortunately, because of our strategic location in the Pacific and the greater Asia-Pacific region, Fiji has also been used as a transit point for delivery of illegal and dangerous drugs, as well as other illicit items and substances.
Israel's ambassador to Fiji, Tibor Shalosha, emphasized given the shared challenges.
Terrorism in the world is in our globalized world, so it's not only technology that has been dispersed and is accessible to everyone, but unfortunately also terrorism became global terrorism.
Based at the international arrivals section, passengers coming into Fiji can now expect enhanced security.
Parcel scanning solutions are versatile to adapt to different screening scenarios and alert upon the presence of explosives and narcotics.
The X-ray machine will be used by the Biosecurity Authority of Fiji and FRCA. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
The Public Accounts Committee has raised concern about recent reports in the Fiji Times. They say their news articles have sensationalized the review and recommendations contained in the Office of the Auditor General's report. PAC Chair Ashnil Sudhakar claims the Fiji Times sought to apply a superficial analysis to the report rather than respect the thorough and impartial assessment carried out by the committee. Akusita Tale has more.
The Public Accounts Committee claims the Fiji Times has preempted the assessment carried out by the committee after they ran a series of news articles in the last few weeks.
As part of that assessment, the Public Accounts Committee will call on government ministries and government-funded institutions to come before the committee to provide context to the findings contained in the OAG report.
Ashnil Sudhakar says the selective reports published on the OAG undermines their role to determine the quality of government's financial controls by failing to consider the context that will emerge during the committee's assessment.
Without testimony from government ministries and government-funded institutions or a full understanding of actions taken following the closure of the Auditor General's review period, there cannot be an accurate assessment of findings in the OAG report.
Sudhakar says the Fiji Times reports prior to this process is irresponsible and detrimental to the effectiveness of the constitutional controls. Fiji Times Editor-in-Chief Fred Wesley responded to FBC News questions, saying it's unfortunate Sudhakar has accused the Fiji Times and other media of sensationalizing the Auditor General's reports. He adds the Fiji Times has been reporting on the Auditor General's annual reports for decades, as it's a parliamentary paper and is presented to the representatives of the people in Parliament. Wesley says it's an important tool to hold the government financially accountable to the taxpayers, and the news media plays an important role to ensure people know what it says. The Editor-in-Chief says Sudhakar complained about unbalanced reporting. However, the Auditor General's report is already balanced. Wesley says the Fiji Times reports these explanations also and has no intention of undermining the work of the PAC. Akusita Tale, FBC News.
A 14-year-old boy who has been bedridden since birth due to severe deformity of his legs may soon be able to walk. Specialist doctors from India say with advanced medical operation, the teenager will be able to use his legs. Eleanor Tarangaiviu with the story.
14-year-old Salamisa Wunilangi Jr. isn't able to stand or walk as he was born with severe defects to his legs. A life-changing surgery could change everything for this teenager.
The doctors say he will have surgery so he can stand.
It's a relief.
We have been looking after him for a long time.
Wunilangi Jr. is the youngest of 4 children. Since he was born, his mother has been caring for him at home. His father, Wunilangi Sr., admits that sometimes looking after their son 24/7 takes its toll on the family, but their love for him keeps them going.
It's always a challenge taking him to the hospital or anywhere else because he is bigger and heavier. We have to carry him around. I am a farmer and my wife takes care of him, baths him and feeds him. Sometimes she gets sick. We take him everywhere we go and we treat him as normal.
Wunilangi Jr. was today among several other persons living with disabilities that were screened by specialist doctors from the Sahadri Hospital in India. It was during this screening that his parents were told their son may be able to walk.
We thank God for today, for the doctors being here. We believe God has heard our prayers about our baby boy.
Wunilangi Sr. and his wife will later be notified of the kind of operation Wunilangi Jr. will receive and where it will take place. While the family is rejoicing at the good news now, they are hoping and praying this day will come sooner rather than later. Eleanor Turangaibiu, FBC News.
Meanwhile, specialist doctors from the Sahadri Hospital in India are in Lambasa conducting screening for persons living with disability. Close to 100 people turned up for the free screening today. Eleanor Turangaibiu again with the story.
This is the first initiative undertaken by the governments of Fiji and India aimed at providing the best medical care to persons living with disability in Fiji.
This time we are having the aim and object to find out the disabled people who can be made able. With an application of advanced medical technology.
A team of 7 doctors from the Sahadri Hospital in India who specialize in orthopedic and ophthalmology are conducting screenings to persons living with disability.
We are focusing on spine patients, orthopedic deformity and those who are having ophthalmological problem, that is blindness, retina, so on and so forth.
While the screening is being done for free, government is looking at how it can assist those who will be identified to undergo surgery here in Fiji or in India.
It's an issue that we will certainly look positively at because, you know, these are our fellow Fijians who need special assistance. They need to be helped out in what way. We'll do our homework to see that the best is done for them.
The free screening starts today and will run until the 3rd of August, beginning here in Lambasa and then moving to Suva on the Saturday and then on to Singatoka, Mba and then Lautoka. The main aim of this initiative is to provide advanced medical technology to persons living with disabilities. Eleanor Turangaibiu, FBC News.
Permanent Secretary Philip Davies says the Health Ministry is committed to providing sensitive care for patients who are terminally ill, including those with cancer. He was responding to statements earlier this week made by Professor Prasad claiming that terminally ill cancer patients are left to die in hospital or family members are forced to take them home, and that there is a shortage of pain-killing medicine. Davies says Prasad's statement didn't provide information for the ministry to investigate, and no formal complaint or expression of concern has been lodged. But instead, Prasad raised these sensitive issues in the media with no evidence to support his case. Still to come, regional cooperation necessary to maintain security, says Minister. And Project Bolamai assists needy children.
Moala radada ranavika au tikonga na tau na Singatoka andau talitaka na wakaronga na Bula FM number 2 na serre.
Ya dora subuli kurna bili. Iborani batu karahan barabinan nga.
Total takinan na warungan ng Bula FM, number 2 en serie. Bula!
Bula FM, number 2 en serie.
A majority of the ships that were boarded by the joint operation of Fiji and New Zealand naval forces were foreign vessels transiting through Fiji waters. This was confirmed by Navy Chief Captain Humphrey Thawake during a press conference with the Maritime Component Commander of the Royal New Zealand Navy in Suva this afternoon. Akusita Tale has more.
Out of 284 vessels boarded during the joint operation, many were foreign fishing boats while others were locally registered fishing vessels.
Either on fishing activities, other lessons, and those on replenishment coming in to Suva or Lutoka for stores and supplies. But any infringements in terms of our fisheries laws and in terms of any maritime issues have been addressed to the relevant authorities.
Captain Humphrey also confirmed that none of the ships boarded were involved or linked to any transnational crime, but many did not have the proper fishing license. He adds the huge number of vessels boarded in our national waters is a concern. New Zealand's Maritime Commander says that while they are concerned about the illegal fishing trade, environment and transnational crimes, they're learning a lot at sea.
The issues that make us a large maritime nation and the challenges in which to understand what's happening in the maritime domain and the assets to be able to patrol, we share with you. We know exactly what that situation is.
The New Zealand Navy vessel, the HMNZS Hawea, and her crew will be in Fiji until the end of October to assist in patrolling our exclusive economic zone. Akusita Tale, FBC News.
The global security situation has changed dramatically in recent years, making it unpredictable, sophisticated and challenging. This was highlighted at the regional workshop on Biological Weapons Convention in Nandi this morning. Ropate Valeme reports.
Minister for Defense and National Security Ratu Inoki Kumbombola says the threat from biological weapon is real.
I believe that as a region, we can be strong if we stand together with our vision, rooted in our shared values and beliefs. And our collective efforts can contribute to the overall objective of a secure region by realizing the unprecedented threats confronting our region.
Kumbombola told participants from the region that we cannot remain in isolation.
We must be able to utilize collective diplomacy and international assistance to the ISU of the BWC in implementing the requirements of the Convention and to engage constructively with each other.
Deputy Head of EU Delegation for the Pacific and Chargé d'Affaires, Correndo Pampaloni, says the European Union will continue to provide their necessary assistance.
Building upon our constructive cooperation thus far, we would like to encourage the Pacific states, not yet party to the BTWC, to consider undertaking the necessary political and legislative measures with a view to signing, ratifying the convention.
The two-day convention ends tomorrow. Rapata Valeme, FBC News.
3 assessors in the case of 2 former correction officers facing rape charges have found them not guilty. Ratumeli Vaturemba and Nasoni Ramburao each face 1 count of rape. They both allegedly raped a 26-year-old female corrections officer on 17 September 2015 at the Suva Remand Center premises. Justice Vincent Pereira will deliver his judgment tomorrow. Project Bulamai has been a beacon of hope for some when it comes to giving back to society. It has donated more than $600,000 for projects in the Western Division. Ropate Valeme has more.
Project Bulamai has been assisting the health system in Nandi in its mission of health is wealth. This year it has chosen Cure Kids Fiji. Chairman Adrian Sofield says the accounts are secured.
One thing that Project Bulamai is very proud of is the fact that our accounts are audited annually, so that anyone donating cash has the comfort that what we raise, we put where we say we'll.
Cure Fiji Operation Director Sally Cooper says the donation will assist with their oxygen delivery program.
These are oxygen systems that we had piloted last year and tested for 6 months to ensure that they worked in the climate of Fiji with our high heat and high level of humidity. We have found successfully that the unit we have in Missouri has worked. It's able to deliver 5 feeds of oxygen live.
Project Bulomai's Event Style Fiji raises funding for their projects. Style Fiji 2017 promises to provide a spectacular night of fashion and entertainment at this year's fundraiser. Rapata Valimei, FBC News.
Fiji will take part in this year's Miss India Fiji Worldwide Pageant. National Director Rajneet Raju says Fiji last took part in the pageant in 2012. Auditions will begin next month in Suva. The winner will represent Fiji at the Miss India Worldwide Pageant to be held in New York in October.
It is the world's largest ethnic beauty pageant in the world. It was founded in New York by a person called Dharmatma Sharan. About 40 countries take part every year, the motive of this pageant was to promote Indian art and talent.
Ahead in sports with Jamie, Fijian rugby player jailed in New Zealand, but up next is Agosita with business.
Thanks, Jackie. Good evening. Coming up, fuel import bill too high for Fijian economy. And in growing Fiji, new facilities for Basanatan College students. Stay with us.
I'm Anare Sorbakroa of Nayabu Wendibuga Telebu. Whenever I want to tune in to listen to great music, I always tune in to my favorite radio station, Gold FM, only the classic.
My name is Lita. We love listening to Gold FM here at the Fiji Hideaway Resort and Spa. Gold FM, only the classic hits.
We here at Tano Waterfront Lautoka love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Leading business tonight, around one-third of Fiji's total imports bill is being spent on fuel imports. Ministry of Infrastructure and Transport Permanent Secretary Paul Bailey says this is quite alarming considering the size of our economy. He adds the ministry is currently working with financial institutions to help businesses and individuals to invest in renewable energy. He adds a shift to renewable energy will enable the government to invest its money paid for fuel imports into other critical areas.
Investment products include customised credit lines for energy efficiency upgrades and the clean energy technology investments, and mezzanine finance for smaller renewable energy projects. Advisory interventions include technical capacity building for local financial institutions to help them to identify and to develop sustainable energy projects.
VB Holdings Limited has announced its first interim dividend for this year of 0.07 cents per share. This will provide a total return of 4% per annum on an annualized basis. The board approved the dividend based on the performance of the company since its last balance sheet and due to continued growth and developments taking place. VB Holdings, with its core business of fleet management and property management, recorded revenue of $3.5 million for the 6 months to June. Today is a good day for importers of American goods, and here to tell us more is Elisa Pedi from the HFC Bank.
Good evening. An update to our economic calendar. The US dollar slipped to its lowest level this morning after the Federal Reserve released its policy statement following its July meeting. The Federal Reserve said that it would start winding down its massive holdings on bonds relatively soon. The Federal Open Market Committee announced no changes to its monetary policy as expected. It remained at 1.25%. All these releases resulted in the Fijian dollar strengthening against the US dollar by 29 points. Importers using US currency will benefit the most from the weak US dollar today because it's the best importer rate of the year. And that is all from me, Vinak.
Now looking at today's opening exchange rates, the Fijian dollar rose against the Chinese yuan to close at 3.28, while was up slightly against the US dollar at just under 49 cents. Closer to home, the Australian dollar dropped slightly at just under 61 cents, as did the New Zealand dollar, strengthened to closing around 64.5 cents. The PNG kina strengthened at $1.37, while the euro weakened, closing at under 42 cents. The Japanese yen fell as well to close at 53 cents Fijian. As for the commodities market, oil prices were up at 48.65 per barrel. Gold was up more than $11 at 1,261 per ounce. Meanwhile, silver dropped to close at 16.67 per ounce. Students in Ba can now get back to the business of learning and forget the trauma of tropical cyclone Winston. It's coming up to a year and a half since the night TC Winston blasted schools around Ba with brutal winds and torrential rain. Ropate Valimoe has more.
Students at Basanatan College, along with countless young people on the outer islands, had their dreams shattered, but they have been rebuilt by the government.
We knew we had to build back better, because building to the same standard as before would spell disaster for Fiji when the next cyclone reached our shores.
Delivering the Prime Minister's speech, Seruratu says there is considerable work to be done to prepare ourselves for what is ahead.
95% of the schools we are rebuilding from Cyclone Winston were built with no structurally approved plans, leaving our students vulnerable to climate-related catastrophe. We can't afford to rebuild to that standard, because to do so would stick us in a costly cycle of rebuilding year after year.
Basanatan College Association President Bridge Dayal says the students will now have safe facilities for learning.
We at Basanatan College are thankful and must show our gratitude to all those who assisted us immediately after the disaster and during the rebuilding phase.
The school today opened a new technical and skills training block, helping to provide a brighter future with these facilities. Ropate Valimoe, FBC News.
That's business this evening. Now with the latest in sports, here's Jamie.
And good evening. Coming up, Dragons interested to host NRL games in Fiji. Details after the break.
मैं प्रेमिला वायरुकू रेकी रेकी से सुबह मेरी आँख खुलती है तो मैं मिर्ची एफएम सुनती हूँ। मिर्ची एफएम इज नंबर 1। इट्स सो हॉट।
हम लोग बार टाउन के कैरियर ड्राइवर लोगों ने हम लोग के मिर्ची एफएम सुनो अच्छा लगे। मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट।
हाय, मैं संध्या नारिया रेकी से मेरे सारे दोस्त मिर्ची एफएम सुनते हैं। मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट। आई लव मिर्ची एफएम।
हमें स्पिन टोटो ताबुआ के मिर्ची एफएम में सबसे अच्छा गाना बजे।
मिर्ची एफएम इट्स हॉट।
The hunt for a rover for the Vodafone Fiji Sevens team for next season has already begun, with Captain Courageous Osekolini Sao on his way to become Captain America after signing with the Houston Strikers. Coach Gareth Weber is keeping an eye on a few players from within the pack to lead the team. Wastil Prasad reports.
You know, players that we've looked at, Samuel Ballet in terms of a rover position. I'm looking at several other players who are playing in Skipper Cup and or will be included possibly in NRC. Good senior players who can aid something like a Masu and lead the team.
Into the future and into the Commonwealth Games and World Cup. And we will miss you.
To train with the squad and move forward through next season and obviously onto the Olympics.
25-year-old Fijian rugby player Kolinio Yambia Tamanito Akula, who played for Mid-Canterbury, New Zealand, has been jailed to 3 years, 4 months and 2 weeks after pleading guilty to a charge of assault with intent to commit sexual violation. Tamanito Akula and his teammates taunted and whistled at a woman before he followed her to a secluded area and tried to rape her in the Gisborne CBD on October 2nd last year. It was the morning after Tamanito Akula's Ashburton-based team played East Coast in Rotorua. He told police he had been drinking heaps on the night. He had no previous convictions in New Zealand or in Fiji. The Fiji National Rugby League expects to host an Australian NRL game at Suva's NZ Stadium next year. The St. George Illawarra Dragons are planning to play one NRL game outside of Australia and New Zealand for the first time. Fiji has already put a bid to stage 2 matches next season. The Dragons are in discussions with the FNRL about hosting a home game in 2018. FNRL Chief Executive Timothy Nalemba says they have given the proposal to the government and are waiting for a response. AFL Fiji received a timely boost from BSP this morning as they prepare for the International Cup in Melbourne next month. BSP provided more than $15,000 in training vests, bags and caps that will be shared between the men's and women's teams. Meli Tavanga reports.
With the International Cup just around the corner, BSP came on board and showed their support to the Fiji tribe and the Fiji Vonu. AFL Fiji acknowledged the assistance and they're ready to stamp their mark in the competition.
Absolutely, I mean, it'll give other countries a chance to look at Fiji and take us seriously. We'll be looking beautiful off the field and we'll be performing well on the field. So I think it's a really good idea and it's a really good initiative from BSP and we thank them a lot for it, yeah.
This is the first corporate help they've received providing assurance someone is there for them as they head towards the competition.
Supporting AFL, these young, to the World Cup of AFL, that's big. And we wish them all the best. And we hope that some of them come out successful. As you would see, some of the team members are very young, unemployed. We hope that they can secure some overseas contracts.
The men's team is in a good position to challenge big teams in their pool like France, New Zealand, South Africa and Great Britain.
From a men's perspective, their structures on the field are looking really good. We're working on our partnerships and our ball movement patterns and everything. So with a week left to go, we're looking really, really positive and we're versing France in the first game and that's going to be a really good test for us.
The competition runs from the 5th to the 19th of next month. Melitawanga, FBC Sports.
The Lautoka football side needs 4 wins from the remaining 6 matches to secure this year's Vodafone Premier League title. The Blues lead with 22 points from 8 matches and are 7 points clear of second place Rewa. Lautoka last won the title in 2009. Fiji Football Association Chief Executive Muhammad Yusuf says the league is expected to heat up with spots in the OFC Champions League and Pacific Cup on the line.
The qualification criteria for the Pacific Cup in Mount Wellington in New Zealand in November. At the moment, Lautoka, at the moment, Nandi and Rewa have 10 points each. Lautoka is down there with 4 points, but they're leading the league. If they win the league, they'll get another 5 to make it 9.
The Fiji Car Club is urging women to take part in its events. The club has recorded a gradual increase in the number of female racers over the years, but would like to see more. Rohit Deo reports.
The Fiji Car Club is impressed with the number of women coming to its events, but would love to see the numbers increase. The national record for women's division was broken at the last event.
Yes, Sandhya Naidu has become the fastest lady driver in Fiji. It's very encouraging that we had 6 ladies that took part in the last event. We're expecting more ladies to come on the next race, which is on the 20th of August.
In the men's category, Ravin Nath was edged by his nephew Vicky Nath and is expected to come out fighting in the next event.
People need to come on Sunday on the 20th of August to see Ravin battling his nephew. I'm pretty sure Ravin will be all geared up to come and take his crown back from Vicky Nath.
40 drivers took part in the last race and a better turnout is expected in the next event.
The racing community should be ready by 20th and we'll definitely see a much bigger crowd than the previous one.
The next event will be held on the 20th of next month at the Nanuku Airstrip in Pacific Harbour. Rohit Dev, BC Sports.
In today's play of the day, UFC fighter John Jones is better known for shutting down fighters in the octagon. But at a press conference today, he showed he can also dish out some killer blows to reporters. That's it from sports this evening. Catch weather later on with Angie and in new media. Adobe Flash to flicker out in 2020. Details after the break.
Bula, kera mai singatoka, kera ndo talita kana varorong na Radio Fiji 1 and Domoy Viti.
Ayaw na rin siya. Ito kami nasong butikola, ndo talita kana Radio Fiji 1 kina Domoy Viti.
Kaya kuya sila tali, nagurara may nawamanyi, nandunga. Gitu talita gini ang gabi Venezuela, nagudurong barong na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoy Viti.
Na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoy Viti na bonga ni BNN.
new media tonight, the once necessary plug-in that outwore its welcome is on track to become a thing of the past. Adobe Flash is set to flicker out in 2020. And it's weather time now with Angie.
Hello there and welcome to the Weather World. Well, we had some fresh rainless weather today, which I know most of us love. We were expecting another cold night with few showers, so keep warm. Looking at the west, it was mostly sunny with light rain indicated for tonight. Eastwards from Pekhaba to Suva, it was partly sunny and overcast as well. And up in Vanuatu, it was a beautiful day with pleasant conditions. At sea, southeast winds 15 to 20 knots with moderate to rough seas. And for the tides, low tide tonight will be at 9:57 with a high tide tomorrow morning at 4:03. The beautiful sunrise will be at 6:35. Also tomorrow, it's Friday. Interesting day, isn't it? The weather looks all good, probably a time to chill under the coconut tree. Tomorrow's temps, Suva will be the coolest at 24 degrees. And looking further on to Saturday, we have few light showers lined up for us, but that shouldn't stop us from enjoying our day. And that, Jackie, wraps up our FBC weather for tonight.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. On Fiji on Pulse today, we asked, who do you think should be the next Fiji Sevens captain?
I think Jerry Tuai should be the next Fiji captain. He had shown a lot on the field, and it's a must. He will put Fiji forward if he's given the chance.
I think it's the best option. Jerry Tuai is a good captain at the moment.
The captain's role suits Colin Isau because he is disciplined. But if he is leaving, then Jerry Tuai will be my next option.
I think Jerry Tuai because he's been with the team for so long.
I think Chas Vermalu should be the next captain because he's got the leadership quality and very well experienced.
In the world of the weird and the wonderful, origami, the ancient Japanese art of paper folding, can create cranes whose wings flap and frogs that jump. Engineers are taking the same idea and applying it to robots. Recapping the main stories, airport security strengthens with installation of new X-ray machines. 14-year-old hopes for miracle operation, and Lautoka football 4 wins away from winning the VPL title. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. This week we are asking, are there enough marriage counsellors in Fiji? Visit our FBC website to answer. Before we go, our shot of the day was sent by Michael Nest and John Ongle. Music should strike fire from the heart of a man and bring tears from the eyes of women. Send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. You can also follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. That was your FBC News for tonight. From the team and I, have a safe and enjoyable evening. Good night.
Bula, kera mai singatoka, kera ndo tali taka na varorong na radio Fiji 1 and domoy viti.
Ayaw na rin siya. Usi kombinasyon mo sekolah untuk tali taka na radio Fiji 1 kena domoy viti.
Kaya kuyato sila tali, naguraramay na umanyi, nandunga. Gitu tali tajiri ang gitu Venezuela, nagudurong barong na radio Fiji 1 na domoy viti.
Na radio Fiji 1 na domoy viti na bonga ni BNN.